The 12 Kizuki are the strongest demons after Muzan Kibutsuji, and we know that they are crazy powerful. But do you know how they turned into demons? Or how their lives were as humans? Let me tell you about it. Kamanue. There's actually not much information about Kamanue since he's not that much of an important character. We pretty much only know that he replaced Kyogai as the 6th lower rank, so he must be more powerful than him. The same is the case for the rest of the lower rank moons, except for Ruie and Enmu. We know their names are Mukago, Wakuraba, and Rokuro thanks to the first fanbook, and that is pretty much it. We can assume that Wakuraba believed he was so fast he would be able to escape from the Infinity Castle before getting killed by Muzan. But maybe he was overestimating his abilities. Mukago was portrayed as the most cowardly of the lower rank moons after reading her thoughts. She was the second to get killed by Muzan that night. Rokuro, on the other hand, tried to save his life by convincing Muzan he could be of use. But as soon as he asked for more of his blood, Muzan got very angry and ended him. Enmu. It is said that Enmu wasn't able to distinguish between dreams and reality as a kid, causing much trouble to those around him. As an adult, he used hypnotic techniques to make terminally ill people believe that they had recovered their health. He kept scamming people this way despite them realizing it was all a lie. He became a demon the night Muzan came to eat him up. He noticed that Enmu was not suffering, but instead was praising him, and he ended up turning Enmu into a demon. Ruie. Ruie was a very weak boy since birth, but he once encountered Muzan, who turned him into a demon to take him out of his suffering, at the cost of, well, becoming a demon. Of course, his parents weren't super happy about their son eating people to be healthy, so they tried to kill him in his sleep. Ruie, feeling deeply betrayed, killed them instead. It was only when he heard his mother's last words that he realized they were going to end their own lives after killing him. He tried to create a fake family for himself to fill the void, but as he became more powerful, he forgot what he was looking for and ended up with a group of people that only did what he wanted because they were afraid of the things he could do to them. Daki and Gyutaro. Daki and Gyutaro grew up extremely poor. Gyutaro was the oldest sibling and basically had to survive most of his childhood by his own means. Years later, Ume was born, and she was basically the light in Gyutaro's life. When Ume was 13 years old, Gyutaro found her almost dead and in agonizing pain. She had used a hairpin to blind a samurai that came to her as a client, and in revenge, she was burnt alive. This filled Gyutaro with rage. The same samurai tried to kill Gyutaro as he was lamenting the suffering of his sister. Gyutaro went and killed the samurai, then left with his sister barely alive. They got to meet Doma, the upper rank 6 of that time, who gave them a little bit of his blood out of pity. Thanks to this, they survived by turning into demons. And with time, they ended up becoming the upper rank 6. Gyoko. Managi was the upper rank 5 Gyoko's birth name. As a human, he lived in a seaside village. Both of his parents died drowning on a fishing trip. When Managi got to see their corpses, he was fascinated with them and ended up with a fixation on dead bodies. He started collecting fish carcasses and many other things. One day, a kid teased him so much that Managi ended up killing him and putting him in a pot. When the parents got to know what had happened to their kid, they attacked Managi with a pronged fishing spear and left him to die. He spent 12 hours managing to survive that wound when he encountered Muzan, who then turned him into a demon. Hantengu. Hantengu was a liar since childhood. He lied so much that he even forgot his own name, age, and background. He committed many crimes and murders during his human life, and instead of taking responsibility for his actions, he always said it was his hand's fault. He had a lot of wives and children throughout his life. But whenever he was accused of dishonesty, he would go crazy and end up killing his entire family. This killing his own family after being confronted issue became a cycle that only stopped when he met Muzan. He was waiting for his execution after being captured by a high-ranked officer and then sentenced to death by decapitation. When Muzan found him and turned him into a demon, he escaped and killed the magistrate who condemned him. Akaza. Akaza, who was known as Hakuji in his human life, had to take care of his sick father from a very young age. To do this, he would pickpocket and steal from people. When he was caught for the 3rd time, He got beaten up and marked with tattoos so people knew he was a criminal. When Hakuji came back home, he was told that his father had killed himself and left a note in which he stated that he wanted his son to live an honest life and that he didn't want to live off stolen money. There weren't legal means to get his father's medicine in their situation. This infuriated Hakuji since his father did nothing wrong and didn't need to take his own life. Hakuji eventually got banned from the place he lived and went around picking up fights. In one of these fights, Hakuji almost killed 7 men by himself. He then got approached by Keizo, who was the owner of a dojo in that village, and he convinced Hakuji to become his student after defeating Hakuji easily in battle. After some years, Keizo asked Hakuji to take over his dojo and marry his daughter, who he had been taking care of while learning from him. He went back to his village to visit his father's grave and tell him the good news. But when he came back, a student from Keizo's dojo told Hakuji that the rival dojo poisoned the well where Koyuki and Keizo drank water from, and they died shortly after drinking that water. Obviously, Hakuji didn't take this event lightly. He went to the rival dojo and killed all of its 67 members with his bare hands, leaving their bodies completely unrecognizable. His acts reached Muzan's ears, and he went right away to the place of the event. He found Hakuji and offered to turn him into a demon. He accepted, saying that he actually didn't care about anything anymore. Doma was born with very unique rainbow-colored eyes and pale hair. His appearance made people believe that he was able to communicate with the gods, and his parents created a cult called the Paradise Faith around their child. He didn't have any god-communicating powers though, but he played along with his parents' beliefs and just let people be despite believing it was dumb and meaningless. One day, his mother killed his father after getting to know that he was unfaithful to her with one of the other women of the cult. After killing him, she poisoned herself, ending her own life as well. The first thought that Doma had after this scene was that his mother shouldn't have left the room that messy and wanted to open a window so the smell of the blood didn't stick for long. He literally couldn't feel any emotion toward anybody. When he turned 20, he met Muzan, who probably saw potential in him and turned him into a demon. Kokushibo was born as a twin in the Sengoku period. At that time, twins were considered a bad omen. To solve this, their parents agreed on sending Yoriichi to a temple by the age of 10, while Michikatsu, Kokushibo's human name, was going to become a samurai and the successor of his father's heritage. Michikatsu's brother was always a weird kid. He actually pitied him for being treated so differently. They believed Yoriichi was deaf, since he never spoke a word until the age of 7. Michikatsu heard Yoriichi's voice for the first time one day when his brother was watching him practice sword swinging with his instructor. Yoriichi stated that he was also interested in becoming a samurai. He was once given the opportunity to learn a little bit about it, and after being given basic instructions, a bamboo sword, and the knowledge that his brother had never been able to hit his instructor, he managed to land 4 blows on him that knocked him out. Michikatsu was absolutely amazed by his brother's skills. After that day, the twins believed that their father was going to change their places by sending Michikatsu to the temple instead of Yoriichi. But one night, Yoriichi went to Michikatsu's room in the middle of the night and told him that their mother had died, and that he was going to leave and join the temple before their father could send Michikatsu. After he left, Michikatsu was only able to feel hatred and jealousy for his brother. This feeling grew even more when he realized that his brother already knew about their mother's sickness, and every time he was clinging to her left side, he was actually helping her as her left side weakened. His brother was not only outstandingly good with the sword, but was basically better at everything. He wished for his brother's death since he was so much better than him. And after many years of not having any news about him, he believed it to be true. After 10 years, their paths met again, and Michikatsu discovered that his brother had become an excellent swordsman. Out of jealousy, he decided to become one too. With time, he realized that no matter what he did, he would never be as skilled as his brother, and that he didn't have much time to become better than him. He was desperate. At that moment, Muzan approached him and convinced him to become a demon, so he could have eternity to become better than his brother. And that's how Michikatsu became Kokushibo. He showed so much power that he ended up becoming the upper rank 1. And those are the stories behind the 12 Kizuki that we know so far. The lower 6 that Muzan himself slayed, and the upper 6 that remain undefeated. Or do they? What's your favorite of the 12 Kizuki so far? Tell us in the comments section down below. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you want more Demon Slayer content. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.